Welcome to STEM Careers with Newton's Road. This episode is designed for 6th to 12th grade students, and each week we will be joined by experts from regional businesses and career-oriented education and training programs to help you explore STEM-related careers in our region. My name is Barb Tremont. I'm the Executive Director of Newton's Road, and we are a regional nonprofit that supports STEM. I also have with me today our Michigan Tech University intern, Annalisa Wiesner. Hi, everyone. Our special guest today is Jeff Mertz of Safety, here to talk to us about cybersecurity. Jeff has been an IT professional since 2000. He also has several certifications, including a certified ethical hacker, which I hope to learn something about more on this call, and Cisco Certified Network Professional in Security. And I'm sure he has a lot of other certifications, along with a bachelor's degree in telecommunications from Michigan State. Welcome, Jeff.
Hello.
So this session is going to be recorded and available on our Newton's Road Facebook Live and YouTube pages. And if you're joining us on Facebook Live, please use the comments area to ask questions for Jeff or for Newton's Road. So next, we're going to learn a little bit more about Newton's Road before we dive in with Jeff today. So Newton's Road was founded 10 years ago in 2010, right here in Traverse City, and has been serving the entire 5-county area since then. And we focus on ensuring that all kids in our region have access to quality STEM learning and career exploration opportunities, and that all of you have the opportunity to become fantastic problem solvers. This is our homepage, newtonsroad.org. And one way that you could stay connected with us after today's call is to join our mailing list, where you will get our monthly newsletter telling about upcoming events and celebrating things that have happened in the last month. We also have a STEM at Home page, which has all of the different community media programs that we're doing currently on here, and the access to the recordings of the ones we've done in the past. Especially, you can see there past episodes of career-related episodes that we have. And then the Live at STEM goes by different ages and has different kinds of activities that you could do anytime now that they're recorded. So we also have a career investigation page located also under parents and students. And these are links to great resources to explore careers in general and what might be a good fit from you. But if you have some areas that you're interested in, such as healthcare, trades, etc., there's some great deep dives in those areas as well. So this might be a great resource for you. Again, any questions, you could put those in the comments on Facebook, on the Facebook Live, and we will make sure that Jeff gets them or answer them ourselves if they're for us. Meanwhile, we're going to switch back over to Jeff and learn all about cybersecurity. Jeff, it's all yours.
Hi, everybody. Name's Jeff Mertz. I work with SafetyNet. Warning, I'm a huge nerd, have been for a long time. I get excited about this stuff. I might ramble. It's just what I love and it's what I do. So I'm hoping everyone gets a little bit out of this and enjoys the talk today. Again, any questions, send them our way. I'm always like when people ask me interesting questions. So we can go ahead and move on to the first slide. Talk a little bit real quick about where I work. I work at SafetyNet, founded in 2003. I've been working there a little over 13 years now, almost 13 and a half, I guess. We specialize in IT managed services with an emphasis on security. We have about 34, 35 people, depending on interns and other situations, kind of varies a person or two. We work in several industries, but a lot of them are highly focused on security, including healthcare, banking, and manufacturing, which a lot of people don't think of as secure, but a lot of government contracts require a very high security level for you to obtain those government contracts. We have our headquarters here in Traverse City, and we also have a satellite office down in Farmington Hills, Michigan. Next slide, please. We're going to talk a little bit about IT security today, But in general, anyone listening, there's a lot of IT career paths. IT isn't just one thing. A lot of people that aren't in IT think, oh, well, you do web programming, so you can fix my laptop. And they're not really the same thing at all. Everything from help desk, information security, which we're going to talk a little bit more later, mobile application development, which is completely separate from, say, web development, cloud access, cloud development is a new big section of IT. It has a couple different specialties from application, access, storage, all kinds of different places to learn and grow and have opportunities in the IT field. So there's a lot of variances. It depends on what you like to do, what excites you, and where your opportunities may lie. Next slide, please. For education, for IT, whenever speaking to junior high, high school, even college age kids, I always like to talk about this section. My education, I actually started with a bachelor's degree at MSU. I actually did not finish college my first time through. Life happens occasionally. I ended up working at GM in the computer room, and then I got my degree from MSU in telecom while working full time at GM. So life never has a straight path. Never give up achieving those goals. But getting your first job in IT is harder without a degree or certifications. Most places like to see at least an associate's degree because it does show commitment to the field, gives you learning experience, gives you hands-on experience in your various classes and labs. I know I learned a lot and had a lot of exposure to some great networking opportunities when I was going to Michigan State. So that was super helpful for me. A lot of colleges do have, through their various programs, tie-ins with various companies in their local fields, not even with IT, but with any field where they offer internships or work-study jobs, college jobs. I know a lot of people at MSU would work in the computer labs, helping people with the computer labs, making sure they were able to get on, turn in their homework, or the local help desks at your computer centers for colleges will tend to hire IT students for those entry-level help desk jobs, helping kids with their computer problems. That gives you a lot of experience that when you go out into the real world looking for your first job, shows you're committed, shows you have experience, and you're used to the field. Almost all entry-level positions do like to see certifications. So certifications and or degrees help very much when getting your first job or changing jobs early in your career. Next slide.
Jeff, could you explain what a certification is or entails? I mean, I think people have an idea about what a college degree is, but how is
Sure.
that different?
So your college degree, obviously, we get college, go to college, pay for college, get a degree. Certifications are exams you can take after studying that show you have learned certain subject areas. For example, I have a certification as a certified ethical hacker. That means I took the exam, I signed non-disclosure agreement saying that I wouldn't talk about what the questions were, and I passed all the questions regarding the subject material on the exam, showing that I know the material they're asking me. Same with my Cisco certifications that show I know how to program Cisco firewalls and I know how to program Cisco IPS devices, or I don't have a wireless certification, but for example, a wireless certification with Cisco. I previously had Microsoft Windows Server certifications, so I took several exams to state that I knew how to configure and operate Windows servers. So the certifications are normally less expensive than a degree. I won't talk about how much I have into my Cisco certifications. I've probably taken 15 or 16 Cisco exams over the last 20 years. But normally tests are anywhere from $100 to $250 each. Most of the time you can study on your own at home. You don't have to take specialized classes for it. As long as you're willing to put in the time and do the work, you can get certification for much less money than, say, an associate's degree.
Mm-hmm. And I think you sometimes at the college, then they offer a class that's aligned to a certification. So after you take a class or 2 or 3 classes, you could apply for should be prepared to study for the certification.
Correct. I actually talk about this on this slide, is opportunities to education. And I'll skip down to the middle one there is NMC and Ferris. NMC's IT program is actually aligned with Ferris's. So if you get your associate's degree at NMC, you can actually continue on to your 40-year degree through NMC's Ferris program. And most of their Cisco exams and most of their Microsoft classes, or Cisco classes and Microsoft classes, actually align to the exam materials. After taking those classes, you normally qualify, either 1 or 2 classes, you're normally qualified for a certain exam. So at least they're covering that material if you learned it well enough. Certifications do require you to get like 80 or 85% or higher most times on the questions. So they are pretty strict. Make sure you can answer those questions. And then that saying, when you go to a college like NMC or Ferris, they do have relationships with local businesses. For example, we're actually on the NMC Tech Board, and we work closely with them whenever we're looking for internships, or say we have a big summer project. We'll reach out to NMC and see if there's any students willing to, take on a summer internship or even a working internship during the normal school year. All our internships are obviously paid internships. If you're working, we expect that you're going to get paid for that work. So we've had very good luck. A lot of our staff has come to an internship to work with SafetyNet and ended up being hired on full time. So it's been a pretty good relationship for us, finding skilled employees. And then they've been able to, I know 3 or 4 people that have finished their 4-year degree while working full time at SafetyNet through the NMC Ferris program. Other colleges, I don't know as well. It's been a long time since I've gone to Michigan State, so I don't know if that's a good example anymore. But most colleges, again, have college campus computer labs for jobs, opportunity to get internships. And then the most important thing, which I believe Jen from SafetyNet covered in a different video, is developing soft skills required for pretty much any job. A lot of people go into IT because they don't think there's a lot of contact with people. It couldn't be further from the truth. You're always working on a team. Very, very rarely are you working solo on anything. And being able to communicate, being able to speak clearly and intelligently regarding your work, what's going on, projects, any changes that are going on, communicating with clients if you're working on a help desk, are key skills that we look for at SafetyNet. And it's one of those things that takes time to develop. Admittedly, I'm a very poor writer, but I speak fairly well, at least in my own opinion. I tend not to have any problems standing up and speaking in front of a crowd. But my emails tend to be short, to the point, a little overly blunt, because I'm just sharing the information in my head, and sometimes people aren't living in my head. So it's just, even at my experience level, I'm still struggling on a regular basis to make sure my emails are clear and concise. So it's one of those skills you always have to learn. Next slide, please. Regarding certifications and learning, I always like to show this picture. It's not necessarily the current iteration of my home lab, but you can see here I have 5 monitors. I have a laptop that's over on the left. I have the Dell PC is actually running ESXi free version. It's running Server 2003, Server 2016, and a version of Linux. And then the Raspberry Pi sitting in front of it is actually running Kali Linux for ethical hacking practice. So most of that stuff is very cheap. I got almost all of it used. A Raspberry Pi costs maybe $35 for a kit, including the USB cables and everything you need. If you can get an old monitor from a family or friend, or check eBay or Facebook Marketplace, you don't need a lot to get started and to start practicing and having fun. It really doesn't take too much. behind me, I have a switch I picked up for like $25. You know, you don't need to have a $10,000 crazy home lab to start learning all this stuff. So I encourage anyone interested in watching, see if you can get your hands on a Raspberry Pi and a cheap monitor. It's amazing what you can do with just 1 or 2 Raspberry Pis and Google and reading in a weekend. It's a hobby of mine. I've built RetroPie with my kids to do video gaming. I built hacking pies to do hacking practice in my home lab. Lots of things you can do for not very much money. So, next slide, please. So what is IT security? Everyone hears cybersecurity, IT security. What does that really entail? I'll talk later about the different jobs in security, but whenever we talk about IT security, we talk about the 3 main pieces of any IT network. The integrity of the data, talking about data to make sure that data has not been modified, is complete, and is accurate, that no one's got in and changed the data. Confidentiality, that data is only disclosed to authorized users. That means that someone hasn't seen the data that they don't need to. In a business sense, that would mean your delivery people don't see your HR data, that your our help desk manager doesn't see the financial data. Right? Those data sets should be separate. Those people don't need to be seeing that. And then obviously anyone outside the company does not have access to any data inside the company. And one that has become bigger and bigger and bigger over the last, I'd say, 6 or 7 years, that a lot of people didn't think about is the availability of data. Crypto locker viruses that encrypt all the data on a network and then demand ransoms. Sometimes you hear called ransomware in the news. Is a really big piece of this availability piece, because you can't do your job if you can't get to your data. COVID breakout here really showed the flexibility and strength of a lot of companies that we've worked with. Most of our clients had very little downtime switching to remote work, making sure that data was available. Again, the availability of that data remotely through secure connections, the ability to work from home. So that's a big piece of data security that a lot of people maybe don't think about as much as they probably should. Next slide, please. What is a hacker? I'm a certified ethical hacker, but what is a hacker? No one's in their basement in the dark with a hoodie. Okay, maybe I am my office is in the basement and I wear hoodies all the time and I normally don't have my lights on. So maybe I am in the dark in the basement with a hoodie, but it's not malicious. It's just because it gets cold down here. Next slide, please. A hacker is just somebody who likes to play with stuff. I showed you the picture of my home lab. I hack all that stuff, right? I take a old PC and turn it into a virtual server and load a bunch of servers on it. It's not what it was meant to do, but it does it for what I need it to do. You know, people that modify cars, they're hackers. They're hacking their cars. You know, modders and makers, people that are using 3D printers. That's a hacker. That's someone that's doing something that most people aren't doing to have fun with it, learn something new, explore the space, the technology, the available options of what can be done. And then, yes, the normal narrative of what a hacker is are people that crack computer codes and computer systems, normally referred to in the industry as crackers, not necessarily hackers. Next slide, please. And not all hackers are bad. So the 3 hats, black hat, gray hat, and white hat. There's really 3 kinds of hackers out there. People like me, white hat hackers, we defend businesses. We make sure that businesses are safe and secure and that nothing bad is going on. Gray hat hackers or black hat hackers are the guys you hear about on the news, the ones getting arrested, the ones sending crypto viruses. And then gray hat hackers, people that maybe do bug bounties and are maybe illegally cracking their own personal iPhones and searching for bug bounties and, you know, kind of sitting on both sides of the fence. Warning to all potential white hat hackers. Normally, when you get into these jobs, background checks are applicable, so make sure you aren't doing anything illegal. Keep it in your home lab. Next slide, please. Types of IT security. We have three types of IT security in general when people speak of it. You have red team. Those are the hackers that are offensively hacking people, trying to get into networks per their contracts. Blue team, people like me defending networks, trying to keep people safe, secure, make sure we're catching the bad guys, and making sure that if anything does happen, we're able to remediate it or fix the issue very quickly. Purple team is pretty popular today in larger enterprises where you have a team that is doing both the attacking and the defending, people trying to penetrate their own networks. Both types of security have to regularly deal with local and federal law enforcement. Again, making sure that you are practicing your hacking, you're practicing in a safe lab environment. I deal with the FBI on a fairly regular basis. So good communication skills are vital. Being able to write a proper email, being able to document everything that's happened, and being able to explain situations to clients and law enforcement is a key skill in this field. Next slide, please. I find this one funny that the computer is probably older than most of the people watching this video right now. This is currently running at a client's and we need to keep it safe. When something's that old, there hasn't been a patch for it in 15 years. So we have to figure out how to keep it safe, keep it secure, and allow the business to keep running because of their specialized one-off unique software. So that one always makes me laugh. Next slide, please. Career opportunities in IT security. It's one of the biggest growing fields. People keep looking for more and more opportunities to hire people trained not only in the technical aspects of IT security, but the procedural and policy and legal sides of IT security. So there's lots of room for different skill sets within the field. Programming and development is always looking for skilled opportunities for talented IT people. It's one of the hardest areas to find skilled people. So if you can develop your skills there, there's tends to be lots of opportunities. And where we'll be in 5 to 10 years, nobody knows. Is it all going to be cloud-based? Are people going to start pulling things back into the office and not being in the cloud? It's hard to say. So having a well-rounded skill set and keeping those communication skills sharp and practice is probably key to getting any job in the area you'd like to pursue. I know I always get asked about how much people in IT security make. They do tend to fetch a premium in the large cities if you're skilled, but premium salaries in Northern Michigan, obviously, not as high as Chicago, Detroit, New York, West Coast. But as IT security gets more and more focused, especially with more and more remote work happening with COVID-19 and the pandemic happening, those salaries are probably going to be start to rising soon. So definitely not a bad field to look into if you're interested. Next slide.
And the cost of living is better here, right?
No. Better than Chicago, though.
Mm-hmm.
And again, one does not simply say thank you without a meme. I'm a nerd. I had to throw one in somewhere. It's how I am. So if anyone has any questions that were brought in from the chat, I'd be glad to answer them.
Jeff, I have a question. You mentioned a couple of slides ago, I'll go back there. Sometimes there just is no patch. Can you tell us what is a patch?
Oh, yes. So everyone knows how with their PC, either Macintosh or Windows, you always get that pop-up saying your machine's been updated or reboot to update. Those updates are patches. They're patching holes in the security structure of your system. That's why they're called a patch, because they're covering a hole, patching a hole. So, as things age, vendors don't create new patches for old equipment where no one's still running it. This was a Windows XP machine that was probably first deployed in 2002 or 2003. So it's really old. It hasn't had patches since 2007 or 2008. So, it's full of security bugs that have been disclosed as people continue to, um, work on playing with attacking XP systems. People still do it as a hobby. And so there's a whole bunch of vulnerabilities, weaknesses in the system that can be exploited if it's getting online, if it's allowed to talk to the internet, if it's not controlled. So we put in a series of systems to prevent it from speaking to the internet, except for a couple of vendor licensed sites and such. So do what we can to limit the exposure and make sure it's got any antivirus that we can find that'll still run on Windows XP, et cetera. So.
Gotcha. So there is a question about certification. Are you able to get a IT certification while you're still in high school?
If you can pay for the exam, I believe there are some limitations on like certified ethical hacker. I think you need to be 18 due to the nature of the exam. But yes, you can pay for and schedule the test. Excuse me, throat's getting dry. Schedule and pay for the test if you've done your practice and you think you're able to pass and you're doing well on your practice exams. Anybody can get the cert. So might need your parents' credit card to do it.
I think even there's some courses at the Career Tech Center where it's aligned to a certification. So those are high school.
Yeah, we see lots of high schoolers that are first year in NMC that already have their kind of intro certifications. So you should be able to, get certifications through high school as long as you've done your practice and studying.
Is there a certification you would recommend starting with?
Depending on the career path you want to go into, if it's more networking or security, Net Plus or Security Plus is a pretty good beginning certification. I normally recommend the Network Plus. As you get into security, the technical side of security, knowing networking is very important. So that's a good one to start with. The Security Plus is also good if you're starting in security. If you're going more into a help desk or administration role, the A Plus is actually a pretty good certification to get a good grounding in what you need to know as far as hardware, networks, in a more general level, and repair methodologies, troubleshooting methodologies. So that's a pretty good.
They even get into soft skills in that one too.
They do now, yeah. The current exam does get into some soft skills there too. So most of those are pretty decent to start with, along with your Office and Microsoft operating system certifications.
I think we have time for one last question. I guess, can you start right out of high school? I mean, so it sounds like you could start working. I think that means right out of high school, conceivably.
I mean, if you get the right opportunities, obviously you definitely can start right out of high school. We've had several people that were students at NMC that impressed their professors first year that got internships with us, and we hired them full time. They worked hard, they listened well, they learned their stuff, they were getting the good grades at NMC right out of high school, and then one semester in, they're internshipping with us, and 6 months later, they have a full-time job and they're getting their associate's degree while working full-time with us. So it definitely can happen. Even if you get out of high school and you want to work at the Geek Squad or TC Computers or any experience you can get, you can definitely get in the IT field young, especially if you have some practice under your belt with a home lab or opportunities through high school computer classes to get exposed to those things. There's no stopping you if you get the right opportunities and you look and dig for those jobs that'll get you that experience.
Thank you. That's fantastic to hear that still that things have not changed. And we want to thank you, Jeff, for coming and joining us today. And we also want to thank our many sponsors and partners and supporters who help make this possible, including Matt here with us from Traverse Area Community Media. So I hope you learned something really awesome around cybersecurity. And thanks again, Jeff. And we want to hope to see you again next Thursday. Looks like it might be in physical therapy from 4:30 till 5 p.m. And Facebook Live or TACM Community Media. Take good care.